is your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I've spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I finally left it smooth, so maybe some of the viewers are excited about that. Get back on the yard and share some of the craziness that's going on in Florence. But right now I'm still in Oklahoma. You know, when you come through Oklahoma, they put, Oklahoma is like a high-rise freaking apartment, condo, whatever. But of course, there's no, no housewarming, there's no hot tub, there's none of the luxury stuff that goes on with all these other places. It's all brick, it's all metal, and every color that's painted in there is all like pale. You know, they've done surveys and psychological testings on how to really kind of dictate and control your emotions by the way of they design the cells, by the colors that they paint in the unit. You know, everything is just mellow and depressing. But everything is done by design. You know, when you go through Oklahoma, you can become an orderly. Most people are there a few days, a week. I mean, I met some people that were there for 2 or 3 months. Usually the longest I ever stayed in Oklahoma was a month. A month on my way to the Smooth, and at this time, I'm stuck there a month too. My plane that's leaving that goes to Florence comes every other week. So if I'm not on that list, then I gotta wait 2 more weeks to get on the flight. But while you're in Oklahoma, you can volunteer to be an orderly. You know, help pass out the tray, sweep the floor, mop the floor, keep the TV or the phone or whatever clean. People sign up to be orderlies because they get extra trays during mealtime. For me, the food in Oklahoma isn't that great for me to want to go and clean up after somebody else just to get an extra burger or whatever. Like, I really don't give a fuck about the food. But mainly, I care more about not ever wanting to really work for them people. Get a job, get a jailhouse job to freaking sweep and mop for crumbs. I'm just not into that. My dog Kiki is snoring, so if you hear her, just ignore her. But so, you know, a couple times I went up to go pick up my tray and my supplies, you know, shaving, soap and stuff, and I noticed this white dude that's handing it out. Now, mind you, it's been 19 years since I've seen this white dude. His name is Jerry Petting. I was in a county jail with him. But at the time, I wasn't really sure if that was really him. I just remember, you know, he had red hair, red mustache. He looked the same, maybe a few more wrinkles. But on his arm, he had a tattoo of a Hawaiian hula hoop girl. So I remember that tattoo, and I'm just like, man, is this really this dude, Jerry Petting? Because going back, while I'm fighting my case in the county jail, he was in a cell next to me while I was in Supermax. And, you know, I used to draw. I haven't drawn in a while, but, you know, part of my hustle while I was in there, I would draw on envelopes and sell it for 2 to 3 candy bars, Snickers, Milky Ways, Reese's, whatever. But at that time, he had 2 little kids, a girl and a boy. They were between the age of 5 and 2 years old. So he would always have me draw stuff for his kids, and I would sell it to him, you know, for the candy bars and whatnot. Well, one day, somebody else gets put in my tank. A dude that I became real good friends with down the road and are still good friends now. His name is Charles Freeman. He was put about 3 or 4 cells from where I was at. And when he came in, he can hear the conversation that me and Jerry are having through the course of our day. Because as far as I know, he's just another inmate in a cell. You know, I didn't know anything about his background or about his case or anything like that. So my buddy Chuck, the one I became friends with later, he shoots me a kite. He said, hey man, you know that dude next door to you is a rat. He told on his last name is Oliver. I forgot his first name. Scott Oliver. He told on Scott Oliver. The dude testified against his co-defendant, Scott Oliver, for a bank robbery. But his dude that sitting next to me, Jerry, his story was he was a square. He had his own construction company. He had a business, just had a couple kids, you know, living the American dream. Well, he runs into Scott Oliver. I don't know how they met, but Scott Oliver just got out of the state joint. Scott Oliver, he's a good dude as far as everything I know, straight up dude, but he had a heroin habit. He was a dope fiend. So somehow he met up with Jerry and got Jerry to start shooting that poison up. Within 1 year, this dude shot up his whole company, lost all his money chasing dope. And then they end up deciding to go rob a bank. They rob a bank. I don't know how they got busted, but they get busted. Jerry gets put in interrogation. Like, he's a rat, right? So I automatically feel a certain type of way about this individual. But sharing these videos and stuff, I'm gonna keep it real with you. This dude wasn't a criminal. He didn't live the criminal life. He met somebody and ended up going on a freaking binge, on a heroin binge, and lost his whole livelihood. So when he got arrested, he was so dumb and so clueless to the system, he just started telling on himself. And Scott Oliver, that was with him, he didn't wait to be offered a deal or anything. For his testimony at trial, he didn't get 1 day off of it. He ended up with 13 years for bank robbery, and Scott ended up with like 15 or 18 years. But Scott ended up with more time because he already had priors. You know, when you get sentenced, they count your priors and you get so many points for this felony, so many points for being on parole, so many points for being on probation, and so on, that jacks up your category. So Scott ended up going to trial and ended up getting 18 years. And Jerry testified against him and ended up with 13 years. Now, let me explain to you how dumb this dude is. He got put in an interrogation room because he's never been in a situation before. He just started running his mouth and confessing to everything. So he gets sentenced in the Fed for 13 and a half years to the federal prison. Well, at the time that we were in the county jail, it was 1999, close to 2000. He had already got his 13-year sentence from the feds, but now his ass is back in Utah fighting all the robbery cases in the state. Why he told or whatever, you know, that's on him. I don't know anything. I didn't get into his psyche. But I'm just emphasizing that he was clueless to the system, because most rats, they want to wait until they can get a deal. Like my rat, he waited 2 years to testify against me, to turn state evidence. You know, we dragged it on fighting our case until 60 days before the last time I went to court. The judge told the prosecutor they can't postpone my hearing anymore. That this next date is going to be set in stone. And if the prosecutor is not ready to go to trial, then they're going to have to start thinking about dropping my cases. So I'm excited at the time. I'm thinking, hey, no one's going to tell. A few more months, and we're going to beat the feds. Well, 2 weeks before my trial date was set, I get a call. I call my lawyer, and I'm excited about the trial. They don't got no evidence on me. The police that followed the people from the bank didn't ID me. Nobody in the bank ID'd me. I didn't get caught with any of the money. Nothing. I'm good. But when I called my lawyer's like, hey, I got some bad news. I was like, well, what's the bad news? He's like, oh, I already mailed it to you. Well, you can't tell me on the phone. He goes, oh, you should get it today. It's better if you just read it. And later on that day, I got my legal mail, and it was the dude's statement agreeing to cooperate with the state or with the feds. Now, at trial, they ask all these witnesses, these people that are testifying against you. One of the first things they ask is like, did the prosecutor promise you anything for your cooperation? And they're going to tell you, no, I wasn't promised anything. Well, who the fuck is going to go tarnish their whole reputation, send all their homies to prison if they're not going to get something out of it? Of course there's a deal made. There's a mutual understanding of the mind that you both came to an agreement. I help you, you're going to help me. So when these bitch-ass CIs get on the stand and talk about, oh, the prosecutors never promised me anything, I'm just doing this out of the kindness of my heart because I want to do the right thing, 100% bullshit. As soon as this dude got off the stand on me, they put him in a fucking white van and drove him to the halfway house. I ended up with 18 years. My co-defendant ended up with 13. Yeah, there was an agreement. Yeah, there was stuff that was promised. But anyway, there are rare occasions where one of these rats are dumb and clueless and don't get nothing in writing and is just telling because he's scared or want to do the right thing. I don't know. But this dude right here, Jerry Petting, didn't get a fucking day for testifying against his co-defendant, and he was facing state charges. So fast forward to 2017, this is 19 years later, I run into this dude. And I'm like, man, it looks just like this dude. So I meet this dude out of Oakland. His name is June. He's a norteño. He just came from El Reno. He got caught up on some dope stuff over in El Reno, and they're shipping him off to Florence. Me and him are headed to the same place. So I went and grabbed him. I said, hey, man, hit that dude up over there and find out if his name is Jerry Petting. He goes, who? I said, that guy right there. He's like, oh, is he an orderly? I said, yeah. Shit, their name should be on the wall. They have an orderly list. So I go up to the name, and sure enough, it's him. So I'm like, man, I just got out of this smooth. I don't know what I'm supposed to, I'm conflicted right now because I just personally want to punish him because I personally know him, right? So I'm just in his way. Every time he's sweeping and mopping, I'm just standing in his way. I'm waiting for him to see if he recognizes me, but he doesn't bite. So one day I'm going outside because they have a little rec cage outside when there's a TV. It used to be like for people that smoke, but you can't smoke in the feds anymore. So I go outside because I see him there, and I go stand in the doorway. And when he walks past me, he's like, hey, how you doing, man? It's been a long time. So I did. So I guess he did recognize me. He's like, oh, how you doing, man? It's been a long time. And he reaches his hand out to shake my hand. And I looked at her. I said, man, I'm not going to shake your fucking hand. You're a fucking rat. And I said it really loud because I really want the other white dudes that are standing around me to hear it, But I'm not conscious that I'm at a transit center. I'm not in the penitentiary. I'm in a transit center. So meaning there's all sorts of people that's coming through that are not of the caliber of individuals that I've been used to. So I said it real loud. I said, nah, I'm not shaking your hand. You're a fucking rat. He's like, man, I'm not no rat, man. Mason, man, I don't want no problems. I don't want no problem. I'm just on a violation and trying to get home. I say, whatever, get the fuck away from me. So, every time I'm just trying to, because, like I said, I just got out of smooth. I just been locked down for the last couple of years. So I'm kind of conflicted, but my old instinct is like ramping up inside of me, but at the same time, I'm just trying to get back to my population. I'm just trying to get back to my program. I got like 5 years left at this time. So, so while I'm there, I just keep my ears open and I hear these white boys talking about, oh, this fucking rat this fucking rat. They're telling each other war stories about, where they were just at. But they're all coming from like FCIs and camps and shit. So I had an opportunity to sit on the wall next to one of these dudes that was engaged in a conversation. And I was telling him, I was like, hey, what are you guys doing over here with, if there's about these rats that's walking around here? He's like, what do you mean? I said, look, I know somebody in here that's fucked up. He's white. I'll go over there and tell him to his face that he's a fucking rat. And I can tell you exactly who he snitched on and when he did it. I should have known better. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh man, look, I don't know anything about that. I'm just on my way to a FCI. I'm cool, man. And after that, I don't know if it was like the word got out or whatever, but none of the white boys that was in the transit center would even strike up a conversation with me anymore. I was just like, what the fuck is going on? But I should have known, because we're going through a transit center, and every time I'm on the phone with my wife, there's 4 phones. So I'm on one of them. So I got one on one side of me and 2 others on the other side of me. And I swear to you, almost every motherfucker that was on that phone calling home was crying about how they've been victimized at the other spot. They had one dude, he was black, he had his nose smashed, like they broke his nose and whatever. He was at a FCI, and I guess he had the sack. Dudes came up in there, whooped his ass and robbed him, and he's on the phone, the pay phone, telling about who whooped him, who robbed him, who took his shit to his people. But, I digress, man. But like I said, I seen that, the Fed is small. You never know who you're going to run into. And to keep it real, I didn't do nothing to that white boy. I was trying to get his people to fuck him up. But the conversation I had with that dude just like threw me all the way off. And after that, I was just like gun shy to even talk to anybody about that, because they might run to the police and try to catch me a conspiracy case about trying to get this dude knocked off. But I found out where he was going. I think he was either going to Pollock or Lee County. I found out where he was leaving, where he was designated. And I sent word with a couple people that was in Oklahoma with me to let a couple white dudes that I knew at the spot that he was going to tell him, hey, May said this dude is this, and that. I said, just tell him my name. Because, most of us that come out of Utah, especially the one of my age, we're all, even if we haven't personally met, we're all familiar with each other's name. I mean, if you're out there and you're known for doing whatever you're doing, most people that's in the game, that's in the street, recognize your name. And my name is unique. I'm the only, when you Google my first and last name, when my wife did it, I was the only one that popped up in Google. So anybody that knows a Cambodian dude, an Asian dude coming out of Utah named Mesa, they would know it's me. Just because, I've been around, and through the course of my bid, I've always been true to who I am, representing my state and my nationality and the hood, if I have to. But you can't get lost in the system, man. If you're foul and fucked up, eventually, sooner or later, no matter how many times you run and hide and check in, you're going to run into somebody that knows you and recognizes you. And if your shit's not straight, if you're in a penitentiary, then, especially if you're white, they're going to get a hold of you. Welcome to your USP.